Assalamu alaikum. We'll be chatting right now to our first guest, Moeshfieka Botha, a Cape Townian activist in the Cape Flats. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studio.
Wa alaikum salam. Shukran for having me, Zaira.
Moeshfieka, you are known as a human rights activist in the Cape Flats. Tell us about what you do, what your position is, and then I'd like to link it to the Palestinian struggle as well.
Alhamdulillah, Zaida. There are many of us, not only me, there are many of us who have been working tirelessly on the Cape Flats for many years, helping where we can. The Cape Flats is an area that suffers from gangsterism, drugs, crime, and it's not very dissimilar to many other spaces within South Africa. And again, there are many of us who have just been putting shoulder to the wheel, whether it is outside of our full time jobs, in addition to our full time jobs. There are many of us who have shown care and concern for the Cape Flats and many other impoverished areas around South Africa. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Mushfika, we know the amount of difficulties that you're saying you're facing in the Cape Flats. We know about the gangsterism, the drugs, the crime. Yet you've still remained a very vocal point and a very vocal group for the Palestinian struggle, despite what you yourself are going through.
Absolutely. And that is what humanity is all about. It's not about having selective compassion. We cannot say, well, okay, because I live on the Cape Flats, I only care about those on the Cape Flats. Because I live on the Cape Flats, nothing else around me, whether locally or even internationally, matters. Um, if once we get to that point, we've lost our humanity. We have to be able to care. We must care about the rest of humanity. So it's a no-brainer, I think, for anybody in the activism space, to say, okay, this is what's happening right now. This is where our care should be. This is where our care is, but this is where the need is most. And right now, the Palestinian cause, if we look at the genocide, if we look at the absolute destruction, and people have this habit of saying these days, oh, but all the Muslims in particular, and also there are non-Muslims that fall into this category too, because there are a lot of non-Muslims who support the plight of the Palestinians. People have this thing of saying, oh, why are you marching for Palestine? Why all the awareness about Palestine? What about what's happening right in your own space? Now, normally I find that those are the people who, for very many years, have not shown much interest in the Cape Flats. Those are generally the people who, when we've been working in the trenches for the last 30 years, have been nowhere to be seen. A lot of those people are also the ones who are coming out now, the keyboard warriors on social media for the likes, for the votes sometimes even. And those are not necessarily the people who have been Cape Flats activists, but are now very, very conveniently using the Palestinian issue and the Cape Flats issue, if I might add, to deflect from the Palestinian issue, which, as we all know, is far worse. Cape Town has its problems. Yes, I've been there, I've been seeing it, I've been helping in that space. But Cape Town is not being bombed. Cape Town is not having hospitals bombed, schools flattened to rubble. Cape Town is not having um, children having to have operations without anesthetic. Cape Town is not anywhere close to what Palestine is now. And anybody who believes that or says that is either delusional, doesn't have access to the internet, or is simply, as we say here on the Cape Flats, mutzwalach.
But I think you're absolutely right. We're looking now at all of a sudden these keyboard warriors that are coming out in full force saying, you've got enough issues of your own at home. Why don't you focus on that? Why is there a need to focus here? But as you rightly pointed out, where have they been all these years when there have been the issues at the Cape Flats? Why have those voices not been raised to say, what am I doing? And in the same vein, those very same voices that are asking you why you're not focused at home and why you're focusing on Palestine are still doing absolutely nothing for the people in the Cape Flats.
And it's actually very strange because I look at the keyboard warriors and they're like, oh no, you should be seeing to why aren't you seeing to the people at home? I have you? If you haven't been doing that, please
Mhm.
look in the mirror, speak to yourself. There are those of us who have been multitasking, who have been sharing our compare and our compassion. Just the other day, there was a march with the people of Congo to the parliament in
Mhm.
Cape Town. I didn't see these people there. We were standing, we were marching with the Congolese community to end the genocide in Congo. These keyboard warriors weren't there. So we cannot be selective in our compassion. We cannot be selective. You know what? And when people say, "But okay, but why are you concentrating more on the Cape, on Palestine now than on the Cape Flats?" I think the most simple analogy for me is that I'm a mother and I have three children. I love my three children equally. I love my three children equally. But right now, my one child is fighting a deadly disease. Right now, my one child is physically closer to dying than the other two. As a mother, it is only natural that my care goes towards the child, not my love, not my love, not my devotion, but my care goes towards the child who needs me more. Right now, with pregnant women being raped and killed in front of their husbands and their children, right now, Palestine is the child who needs me more.
Very well said. We're speaking to Moeshfieka Botha, a human rights activist from the Cape Flats, who's explaining exceptionally well and in no uncertain terms that activism cannot be select and it cannot be just for you looking after your own interests. You want to be an activist, you want to feel for human rights, you want to ensure that every single person has the human rights. It's for every single person. And because the rest of the world tells you that only a select group is entitled to select an amount of rights, these are the people making sure that that does not stay the case. They're making sure that their voices are raised and spoken and held up, not just for people in the Cape Flats, not just for people in the DRC, but also for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. We'll be taking a very quick ad break and then we'll be coming back to continue our interview with Moeshfieka Botha. Stay tuned.
To Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
This Ramadan, spread the love with Sunshine D margarine, the perfect addition to your seri table for spreading, baking, and cooking. Sunshine D is rich in essential vitamin A, E, and D, and is the tastiest way to get their day or night started. Sunshine D. Tastes nice, no lies.
Southern Africa Dawa Network is a non-profit organization striving to uplift the disadvantaged and empowering through education and Dawa. Donate to the SADN centers, the M.A. Motala Islamic Center, as well as our Islamic centers in Amoti, Imtalumi, Botshabelo, and Castile. Donate your zakat and lillah today. Contact Farooq Sheikh 076 321 0650, Yusuf Mohammadi 072 259 3457, or the SADN head office 031 304 8000. Our account, Standard Bank, account number 050 856 294 for your zakat, or 050 879 790 for your lillah. Dawah through education, education through Dawah, the Southern Africa Dawah Network.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings, from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excel in customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011 614 3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
Abu Huraira narrated that he heard the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, "In black seed there is a healing for every disease except death." This Ramadan, experience the health benefits of this ancient blessed seed by using the Tib Black Seed range. Black seed assists the body to boost immunity, regulate blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and act as a potent antioxidant. Experience a holistic approach to health by introducing the Tib Black Seed range into your Ramadan routine. Available in capsules, pure cold-pressed oil, and a vapor rub. Trust Tib Health Sciences for quality black seed products. For more information, visit blackseed.co.za. Available at leading pharmacies.
Alhamdulillah, Muslims in South Africa finally have access to a fully Sharia-compliant emergency medical takaful and wellness product. As an industry first, Emergivac Sharia offers up to 575,000 Rand emergency medical cover at a private hospital for you and your family. Plus, you receive 24-hour access to private ambulance evacuation, 24-hour armed response services, roadside home, and even appliance assistance services. Emergivac Sharia offers you and your family priceless emergency medical cover at a fraction of the cost of traditional private healthcare. Simply download the Emergivac app and register online or SMS Sharia to 40777. Emergivac Sharia, for when serious emergencies require seriously fast response.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The best of you are those who feed others." This Ramadan, join Penny Appeal South Africa in changing lives through Feed Our World. Provide food packs, hot meals, and sustainable food gardens. Make it count. Visit www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Salam Media. We chatting to Moeshfieka Botha, a human rights activist at the Cape Flats. Moeshfieka, assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We were chatting about selective activism, and we see this rampant all over social media, especially in the comment section, with people saying we have so many problems here, why aren't you focused here? But you, as you pointed out rightfully in the earlier segment, you've been focused on your problems there. You've been focused on the Palestinian problems and you focused on the DRC problem. So activism isn't something that is selective. You can't possibly be selective about what you are fighting for, but you can be selective about the attention you're giving at different points in time.
Yes, I think that's just perfectly said. It explains exactly what is happening right now. Yes, we acknowledge, and what I do have a problem with is that I think it's important to note that the people and even the politicians who are spreading this narrative of these people are only standing up for Palestine. What about right here? Those are normally the people, first of all, who over the last decades have never been seen. Secondly, those who have their own agenda and for whom Palestine or any other space isn't really an issue. So what we do seeing right now is that there is a deflection from real issues, and instead of focusing on the real issues, instead of focusing on issues which matter, it's easier. It's easier for people to say, "Look at them," as opposed to "Look at myself. Look at what I am not doing. No, look at them. Look at how they're fighting for Palestine, but not for the people in South Africa." No, you get up from off your seat. You get up from in front of your keyboard and you go and do what you are now sitting back telling others to do. And that is unfortunately something that is prevalent not only in South Africa, but around the world. Keyboard warriors are seemingly ruling the activism space as well. And I think that is something that we need to remember. We
Yeah.
need to remember that the narratives that are being pushed are not necessarily being pushed on the ground, but on social media. And we need to keep up our presence everywhere. Yes, activists are being throttled. Yes, we can't get our things through in through anyway, but we have to remember that if we get one comment through, if we get one like through, it adds, and again, I
Absolutely.
would ask people to not be selective in our compassion.
Absolutely. And I think we need to change that terminology strongly from keyboard warriors to keyboard cowards, because it's very easy to sit behind a computer screen or on your phone and text a comment about your activism. Unless you're actually on the ground doing the hard work, you're doing nothing else for the cause at this point. But if you're just breaking down people's efforts more than anything else. Mushvika, the one thing I want to ask you is, in Cape Town, we have seen thousands of people coming out to marches, whether weekdays or weekends, Saturdays or Sundays, in full force in Cape Town. The amount of police presence that has all of a sudden been available at these marches, um, I've been a bit astounded, because where has this police presence been on the Cape Flats when you've needed it for the gangsterism and the drugs? Because these are the very same people saying, look after your own things at home. Why aren't they sending those forces of police personnel into the Cape Flats to help you do your job there?
Oh, absolutely. That's the question every activist on the Cape Flats is asking. That's the question every mother whose child has died innocently in gang gunfire is asking. That's the question every person who has to walk to work in the morning in fear, to the bus stop in the morning, or to a taxi rank in the morning in fear of being accosted and robbed and assaulted is asking. So the police presence and the presence of law enforcement in Cape Town is, it's absolutely astounding. I have never ever, I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm
Mhm.
nearly 50 years old, and I did not know that there were as many police vans, law enforcement officials, law enforcement vehicles in Cape Town as what I see now when there are marches. And then you're rightfully asking the question, but I do think that this is something that Cape Townians should be asking their councillors. We should be asking our councillors and saying, where are you? We now know that these resources are available. So where are these resources when innocent children are being killed in gang fire? Where are these resources when women and children are being raped and assaulted on the Cape Flats and in the townships? Where are these resources? Because there is definitely a complete and utter disparity in the allocation of resources. And I don't know if you remember, a while back, there was a march in Sea Point,
Mm.
at the promenade, and there were so many law enforcement officers out protecting that small space, that small
Mhm.
select group of people, but they are never ever to be seen when there is anything of note, anything. They take the longest to respond on the Cape Flats, and I challenge anybody to tell me any differently, that the response time and for law enforcement is closer to each other in an affluent area than what it
Mm.
is in a township or on the Cape Flats. There is a complete and utter disparity between the allocation of security resources on the Cape Flats than in the more affluent areas. And again, it comes down to, who do you see as more important?
Mm.
The Western Cape, does it see the Cape Flats and the townships as more important? Or are the more affluent areas needing their care right now? I doubt that. I've seen people respond to a cat in a tree in
Mm.
Sea Point in less time than what they responded to a dead body lying on the ground in an overpark.
But this is exactly what we're talking about, right? With regards to the value of human life, the value of every single human life, not just a select group of people. And we're seeing this ethos consistently playing out, even right here at home. How are you seeing this? What is your perspective, at least, on this with regards to the upcoming elections? Because obviously now it matters. Now the lives are going to matter when election time comes. So you want to show that we have this presence and we're there. But I think time over this last few months has proven to everyone where the value actually lies of some lives over others.
No, it's not. It's, you know what, it's not. I think the problem that we have on the Cape Flats is that we have become so used to not getting services that we think that's the way it should be. I
Mhm.
once went to a street in Hanover Park, and I was writing an article on the value of life on the Cape Flats and in the townships versus in the affluent areas. And there was somebody, and they had a broom, and they were trying to a broom and some detergent, trying to get the blood stain away.
Sure.
And I asked, what are you doing? And he said, nee, ek wil net die bloedkool wegkry, ek wil net die bloedkool wegkry. And I was like, that blood stain is somebody's child, somebody's
Mm.
father, somebody's mother died there. But we have become so accustomed to losing people. We become so
Mm.
accustomed to um uh, to people's lives not having value, that those blood stains littering Elsie's River, littering Manenberg, littering Nyanga, littering Langa, Kaya Lecha, literally just there. um, but when you are in a position of oppression, and that's what we are being oppressed. And yeah, I speak across the board, from national to
Mm.
local to provincial governments. People are being economically oppressed. People are being oppressed by crime. People are being oppressed. And I'm hoping that with this election, people, first of all, do not get taken in by promises. Remember the promises your ward councillor made you the last time. Remember what your fields, your parks where your children are supposed to be playing look like. Remember that they promised to take the filth lying in front of the school away, so that our children don't have to walk through filth and get disease on their way into a school in Tafelsig. But if you have 3 papers lying in front of a school in Camps Bay, it gets cleaned up immediately. Remember that. Remember that those street lights, that because they are not working, women get assaulted in the dark of the morning as they try to go and earn a living. Remember that those street lights were not fixed. Remember that. And I also, I have seen the I was at an iftar, a mass iftar in Burka over the weekend, and lo and behold, the mayor of Cape Town turns up, just turns up. The mayor of Cape Town turns up, and it was clear that the Burka area and the communities who were attending, it was clear from the speakers that there was going to be a huge focus on Palestine. Um, he turned up. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I didn't know. I wasn't very impressed with that he wasn't invited, but he felt that he needed to be there. And I'm just hoping that no Muslim person who was there actually thought that this was a very nice gesture from the mayor of Cape Town. Let us vote for him. I think people need to start looking at electioneering ploys, and I think people need to start looking not only, and please don't get me wrong, the mayor of Cape Town is just some one party that I'm bringing up. Every party is busy with it right now. Every
Mm.
party is busy with it right now. But in terms of what I'm asking, and I'm pleading with my community, I'm pleading with the Muslim community, is to please, I beg you, know that we cannot we may not support any party who stands in support of the war crimes and the genocide being committed by Israel. There are other parties for you to vote for. There are other parties for you to vote for. But for Muslims to be seeking the displeasure, because that's what you're doing, you're literally going out there seeking the displeasure of our Creator by saying, I am supporting a political party who is in support of the genocide, war crimes that Israel is committing against the Palestinian people, the same Palestinian people who are there to protect Masjid al-Aqsa on our behalf. So please, let's not let politics make us lose sight of the fact that we are indeed Muslims first. And yes, your political party can promise you the world. They can promise you the world, but say to yourself, look at the ethos of this political party. If the ethos of this political party points to the fact that they do not see the rights of the Palestinians, that they do not see the war crimes, the genocide, the starvation, the rape, the complete and utter ethnic cleansing as a problem, then you have a problem.
Absolutely well put. I think that's remarkable because, as you're saying, if you're on your ethos and your value system and your basis, you cannot see that there's anything wrong with what's happening in Palestine. By that same measure, no wonder you can ignore what's happening at the Cape Flats. It's so easy to turn a blind eye to it because if it doesn't impact you and it doesn't cross over into your boundaries, you can just pretend it's not there. Very much like what they've been doing to Gaza all these years. We just we put a wall around it, pretend it's not there, and then we continue with our lives. Very much as to what's happening on the Cape Flats. And again, for every single person commenting on Instagram and onto every post saying, why don't you focus on what's happening back home? Here are the people who are focused on what's back home. Here are the people who are fighting for the rights of every single person who are back home, saying how are they trying to fix things, how they're trying to bring attention to it. So they're saying to the councillors, you're bringing out all these cops for this, come and bring those resources right here locally where things can be solved, and yet you're not seeing it. So this consistent selective activism has to stop. It's not even about just activism, it's about human rights for every single person, not just for a select few. Moeshfieka, I think you and I can chat a whole lot much more about this because I think there's so much to unpack here, not just from coming up elections, but from what is going on, how we can assist a lot more, how we can bring more attention to it, but also the amount of passion that is being put in to still fight for the causes of people around the world, whether it's in DRC, whether it's in Palestine, understanding that there's a need for rights for people everywhere. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your team. I think you are doing remarkable work. And I think to be able to be in your position and to continue raising your voices for everyone out there, not just for a select few, and not just doing it from a phone or from a computer, but actually being on the ground and getting actively involved. That's where the difference is made. We're definitely looking forward to seeing you a lot more on Salam Media and chatting to you further. Shukran for joining us today.
Jazakallah, shukran for having me. Appreciate it.
There was still a lot more to unpack there, but we have to pay the bills. We'll be going to a quick ad break and then we'll be getting back to our next interview.